So what's bipolar disorder all about? Well, bipolar just means two extremes. For millions of folks worldwide dealing with it, life can feel split between two totally different feelings, really high and really low. There are different kinds, but let's look at two main ones. Type 1 has those super intense highs along with the lows. Type 2 has shorter, less extreme highs mixed with long periods of feeling down. Imagine constantly swinging between these feelings. It can feel impossible to find your footing. Those extreme highs in type 1 are called manic episodes. They can make someone feel anything from cranky to totally invincible. But these aren't just normal happy feelings. They come with troubling stuff like racing thoughts, not sleeping, talking super fast, acting impulsively, and taking risks. Without help, these episodes get more frequent, more intense, and last longer. Then there's the low part of bipolar. This shows up in many ways: a really low mood, losing interest in things you used to love, changes in how much you eat, feeling worthless or overly guilty, sleeping way too much or not enough, being restless or super slow, or even having thoughts of suicide. Roughly 1 to 3% of adults globally deal with all these bipolar symptoms. Most of these people are actually pretty functional and contribute a lot to society. Their lives, choices, and relationships aren't defined by the disorder. Still, for many, the effects are serious. It can mess with school or work, relationships, money, and even personal safety. So, what causes it? Researchers think the brain's wiring plays a big part. Healthy brains keep strong connections between brain cells by constantly tidying up and getting rid of unused or broken connections. This process is super important because these brain pathways are like our internal map for everything we do. Scientists using special brain scans have found that this tidying up process gets messed up in people with bipolar disorder. That means their brain cells go a bit wild, creating a network that's hard to make sense of. With only confusing signals to guide them, people with bipolar disorder can develop strange thoughts and behaviors. Also, really intense phases of bipolar can bring on things like confused speech and actions, strange beliefs, paranoia, and seeing or hearing things that aren't there. This is thought to be partly because of too much of a brain chemical called dopamine. But even with these insights, we can't point to just one cause for bipolar disorder. It's actually a pretty complicated problem. For example, a part of the brain called the amygdala handles thinking, long-term memory, and emotions. In this area, things like your genes and even past traumas can cause problems and kick off bipolar symptoms. The condition tends to run in families, so we know genetics play a big role, but that doesn't mean there's a single bipolar gene. Instead, it's about how many different genes interact in a complex way we're still trying to figure out. Because the causes are so complex, diagnosing and living with bipolar disorder is tough. But even with all that, it can be managed. Certain medicines like lithium can help control risky thoughts and behaviors by balancing moods. These mood stabilizers work by calming down unusual brain activity, which then helps strengthen proper brain connections. Other common medicines include antipsychotics, which change how dopamine works. Sometimes, as an emergency treatment, doctors might use electroconvulsive therapy, which is like a carefully controlled brain seizure. Some people with bipolar don't want treatment because they worry it will dull their feelings or kill their creativity. But modern doctors are really trying to avoid that. Nowadays, doctors work with each person individually to find a mix of treatments and therapies that lets them live their life to the fullest. Beyond treatment, simpler changes can also help. These include getting regular exercise, having good sleep habits, and staying away from drugs and alcohol. Plus, the acceptance and understanding from family and friends are super important. Remember, bipolar disorder is a medical condition. It's not anyone's fault or their entire identity. It's something that can be controlled through a combination of medical treatments working inside, friends and family offering acceptance and understanding outside, and people with bipolar disorder empowering themselves to find balance in their lives. Early diagnosis can make a huge difference, but it's often tricky. Bipolar disorder is sometimes mistaken for depression, ADHD, or anxiety, especially because many people seek help during low periods rather than highs. Manic or hypomanic episodes may feel productive or even enjoyable at first, so they can go unreported. Because of this, it can take years before someone gets the correct diagnosis. Mental health professionals usually rely on detailed interviews, mood histories, and sometimes input from family members to understand long-term patterns rather than single moments. Therapy also plays an important role alongside medication. Treatments like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, can help people recognize unhelpful thought patterns, manage stress, and respond more effectively to mood changes. Other approaches focus on building routines, improving relationships, and learning how to spot early warning signs of mood shifts. Therapy doesn't fix bipolar disorder, but it gives people practical tools to live with it more confidently and safely. Learning to recognize personal triggers is another key part of managing bipolar disorder. Things like lack of sleep, major stress, substance use, or big life changes can sometimes spark mood episodes. By tracking moods and habits over time, many people learn what throws them off balance and what helps keep them steady. This self-awareness allows for early intervention, which can prevent episodes from becoming more severe. Stigma is still one of the biggest challenges people with bipolar disorder face. Misunderstandings in media and everyday conversations can make the condition seem scary or unpredictable, which isn't fair or accurate. Most people with bipolar disorder are not dangerous, unreliable, or defined by their diagnosis. Reducing stigma starts with education, open conversations, and listening to the voices of people who actually live with the condition. Ultimately, bipolar disorder is a lifelong condition, but it doesn't mean a hopeless future. With the right combination of treatment, support, and self-care, many people build stable, meaningful lives. They pursue careers, maintain strong relationships, and follow their passions. Progress may not be perfectly smooth, but balance is possible, and that balance is something worth working toward. Technology is becoming a helpful tool for people with bipolar disorder. Mood tracking apps, wearable devices, and online therapy platforms allow individuals to monitor sleep activity and mood patterns in real time. By noticing subtle changes early, someone can take steps to prevent a full-blown episode. Technology also connects people to communities and resources, so they don't have to feel alone in managing their condition. Education about bipolar disorder can empower both the person living with it and their loved ones. When families, friends, and teachers understand what triggers episodes, what behaviors are part of the disorder, and what support helps, relationships become stronger. Simple things like helping maintain routines, listening without judgment, or gently encouraging treatment can make a huge difference in someone's stability and confidence. Creative expression is often a positive outlet for people with bipolar disorder. Writing, art, music, and other hobbies can help channel intense emotions into something meaningful. Many people report that these activities not only provide emotional relief, but also help them better understand their feelings. While creativity doesn't replace treatment, it can complement it by giving people a safe space to process highs and lows. Support groups can also be life-changing. Being part of a community where others share similar experiences reduces feelings of isolation and shame. People can exchange practical tips for managing daily life, discuss coping strategies, and celebrate milestones together. Knowing that others have faced similar struggles and succeeded can boost resilience and hope. Finally, self-compassion is essential. Living with bipolar disorder is challenging, and setbacks may happen. It's important to remember that struggles are part of the condition, not a personal failure. Celebrating small victories, forgiving yourself for rough days, and recognizing progress over perfection all contribute to long-term well-being. With patience, support, and the right care, life with bipolar disorder can be rich, fulfilling, and full of potential. Daily routines can be surprisingly powerful for managing bipolar disorder. Keeping consistent sleep and wake times, scheduling meals, and planning regular activities helps stabilize mood. Even small changes like avoiding late-night screen time or setting aside time for relaxation can prevent swings between highs and lows. Over time, these habits create a predictable structure that the brain can rely on, making mood episodes less likely. Exercise isn't just good for the body, it's good for the brain. Regular physical activity releases endorphins, improves sleep, and reduces stress, all of which help maintain emotional balance. You don't need to train like an athlete. Even daily walks, yoga, or dancing can make a noticeable difference. Exercise can also serve as a healthy outlet for excess energy during hypomanic or manic periods.